Hey everybody, it's Joe with Global Systems United. Hey, wanted to help out a couple of clients of mine who have what we call a ground fault on their fire alarm system, just to kind of help explain what a ground fault is and how it happens. But basically, the word ground in electricity refers to a point where it actually goes into the ground, the physical earth of which we live. That's ground. And so, there's things that can transmit electricity to the point of ground, and those are called conducted or conductive materials, such as metal, copper, and there's some others. Now, the most common method of transmitting to ground as a conductive material is through copper. However, metal does also do it, and a lot of times, in buildings, there's a lot of metal, whether it be, the frames for the walls, or the air conditioners up in the ceiling, or the trusses for the roof. All of these can be conductors of electricity to earth ground. So when we say that something has a ground or a ground fault, it means that some part of the fire alarm system is touching ground via metal, copper, or any other conductor. So most typically, it's the metal. It means that it's touching something within the structure of the building, whether it be, like I say, the trusses, or an air conditioner, or some all thread hanging from the ceiling, or a roof truss, or a conduit, or an electrical box, any kind of conductive property like that. So that's what, when something's, on a fire alarm, the wires are touching ground, then it creates a ground fault at the fire alarm panel. And so there's one more step that's a little bit more advanced, and that's called the intermittent ground fault. And that means it's a ground that comes and goes. It's still a ground. However, these ones are a little bit harder to troubleshoot. And the reason why, we have found intermittent ground faults, but the thing is they have to be present when you're on site trying to troubleshoot it. You can't troubleshoot something that's not there. And so to find, locate, and repair it, it's got to be when it's on site or when it's active. And that's the problem with intermittent ground faults, is they're intermittent. They're not always present. And so sometimes those can be a real trouble to try to locate, so that a repair can be made. We've seen intermittent ground faults. You say, what can cause it to come and go? I've seen it where it's up in the ceiling, and an air conditioner is not running, the fan's not running. So the supports for the air conditioner are just that close to the wire, and it's not making ground. But as soon as that fan turns on, it wiggles just a little bit, that unit, just a normal vibration, and it touches the wire, and it creates that intermittent ground fault. I've seen it where there was a wire inside a closed wall, and the wire was laying up against a metal door frame inside the wall. You can't see it, and it would be apart from the door frame just by that much. Well, when the door would open and close and it would slam, it would vibrate just enough, that wire, to make it touch the door frame and create that intermittent ground fault. And so those are what I mean by intermittent ground faults. They're a little bit harder to find. They can take a little more time, but anyway, I hope that helps everybody understand what a ground fault is. The way that we fix them, is once we find that ground fault, is we will either repair that cable via a non-conductive material, such as electrical tape, or we'll just replace that cable, that section of cable where it's bad. So anyway, I hope that helps everybody. Thank you, and hope you have a great day. Bye bye now.